Yo guys, welcome back. Well, not welcome back. Welcome to the first ever podcast that I'm doing. I'm not sure exactly where this is going to be available just yet. Hopefully I can get this onto podcasts on Apple and SoundCloud for sure, and definitely going to be on my YouTube channel, so that's why you're seeing this video right now. I just hit the mic. I'm very sorry for all of you headphone users. But today's topic is something a little bit different. We are going to be discussing why you probably hate my generation. And I know there's a lot of stereotypes and all that kind of stuff going around, obviously, about my generation as a whole. And unfortunately, a lot of it is true. And it sucks, and I say it's unfortunate just because then like I get pegged in this way, or somebody who's really generous and like volunteers all the time, they get pegged this way, and it just sucks. So I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about my perspective, at least, on it, why I agree with it, like why I agree with the stereotypes from my personal experiences, as well as just my perspective in a certain sense. Perspective in two ways, I guess we're going to dive into. So let's get right into it. So I want to start off by talking about just one of the biggest things is it's entitlement. So my generation feels like they're entitled to everything, I guess because we were treated so well as kids, or the majority of us at least. That's a very key point to remember, that this is definitely a majority were treated excessively well. It seems like, especially where I live in the GTA, which is Greater Toronto Area, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's very wealth driven, if you will. You kind of, especially as a younger kid, you seem like you're handed a lot of things. Kind of when you ask for something from mom and dad, you're kind of given it. So it's good and bad. If you grow up with the right morals and all of that, then you grow up and you live well, and you will for a long time, because you've actually got the right morals, the right ideologies and such, that you will grow up and most likely end up becoming successful and continuing on, I guess, a legacy of your family or whatever it may be. But then on the flip side to that, and there's another side, obviously, that kids who don't grow up with a lot and then go into one of the two streams of being incredibly successful because they were driven and they want to have a better life than they've always had, or they just kind of stay where they are and they don't do as much with their lives as they possibly could. But the two main things that I want to talk about is the kids that didn't grow up so well, that don't have a lot of motivation, a lot of drive, but cause trouble, and then the kids that are incredibly privileged and do the exact same thing. Now both are bad, and it's unfortunate that the two groups that work very hard get pegged with these other two groups as a whole. And what I mean by that is the generation doesn't get split into these four groups. It gets split into no group. It just gets put into one big group of teenagers suck, millennials suck, all that kind of stuff. They're too focused on social media, all that kind of stuff. They're always on their phone, they're rude, they're disrespectful, they're not nice to people, they don't help out, they don't volunteer, they don't give back, all they want is money, all they want is Gucci, Louis Vuitton, all this materialistic stuff. And it's not true for the whole generation. And I feel like it should just be split in half. It doesn't necessarily have to be in these four groups, but it can be split in half as to the group that works hard and works for the stuff that they have always had, and want in the future, and the group that expects that but doesn't put in the effort to do so, or flexes, or all of this kind of stuff, and just expects the world to come to them, whereas this group wants the world, like they're going to the world and they're going to take over the world kind of thing. So I believe that these two groups are incredibly different, and I consider myself in the group that works very hard. I try to do as many things as I possibly can, and I'm not saying this in a bragging sense. I'm trying to be as honest as possible, which is very important as well. And so the group that works hard and wants everything and goes and actually drives and gets the stuff, that's the group that's constantly going to be successful, because that's the group that will always have the drive to do something else when something fails, like that kind of stuff. And then the other group just kind of expects everything to come their way without doing any of the work associated with it, which is not how life works. You can't have mom and dad pay for everything your whole life and expect for the world. It's just, and a lot of it happens. And I know so many kids that get, like, they'll take their mommy or daddy's credit card, they'll go to Yorkdale Shopping Mall and spend $10,000. Like, that's not even an exaggeration either. That's $10,000. That's a lot of money. And I know people that do that, or just they've got so much stuff and then they start flexing on people, and it's not even their stuff. They didn't work for it. They just asked for it and they got it. That's not how life works. You have to ask for it and then put in the work to actually get it. That's how it should be. So I guess that's kind of my starting point, at least for this podcast, of basically why you hate my generation. And you hate my generation because of this group that expects everything but doesn't do anything. And it's unfortunate that the group that does everything and doesn't necessarily get anything, they're the ones that get tied into it as well. So I'll take last week, for example. I was in LA, so I guess the week before. Yeah, shout out, first of all, like, I say I was in LA so casually, and I really want to reiterate, at least for myself, and if you're watching me on YouTube as well, if you haven't followed me on YouTube yet, then make sure you go subscribe to Sanders TV. But what I want to say is that I was given that opportunity to go to LA. My mom said, would you like to go somewhere for your reading week this year? I said, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. Because that means a lot to me. Like, I know many people don't have that opportunity. And then kids that just take advantage of that opportunity, they go, oh yeah, let's go to this, like go every single weekend, they go up to the cottage, all that kind of stuff, and take advantage of it and never say thank you. There's nothing. There's just their parents think their parents have money growing on trees, and it's really unfortunate because that's not the case. I want to say thank you to my family because they've given me a lot of opportunities, and traveling, they've blessed me with so many opportunities, and traveling is one of them. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to thank them enough because they've given me the gift of travel, which means that I'm actually able to go out and experience the world, whereas a lot of people I know haven't had that opportunity. So thank you very much to them. But what I wanted to get into, so the week before I went to LA, so this was, I want to say around like February 13th, 14th kind of thing. So I'm on my way to school, and I'm recording a vlog. I'm going to Tim's, and so I pull up to Tim's. I think it's about 11 o'clock or something. It's a Thursday, and so I pull up, and everything seems fine at first. And then I go into the Tim's and I roll down my window because it's beautiful outside. So I'm like, oh, perfect. This is so nice out. Like, I got so much time. Roll down my window, start vlogging a little bit. Like, why not? Why wouldn't I? And so I roll down the window, and then I hear these kids in front of me. Let me start off by prefacing that they're in either mom or dad's Audi SUV. It's not theirs. They feel like they're on top of the world. They got all their buddies in the back. They got 3 guys in the back. They got the 2 in the front. And they feel like they're on top of the world. And they are being so disrespectful to the lady who is trying to get their order so nicely. I'm I feel terrible for this lady because she's having to deal with these kids who are just adding on and adding on and adding on, and then get mad at her when she asks them a question about one of the order pieces, and they start losing it. They're like, no, like, this is what we wanted, this is what we want. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I actually couldn't believe it. I put a video out on my YouTube channel when it happened. It came out the day after it happened. And so I was I was like, how am I hearing this? I'm like, I wanted to get out and smack these kids because it was just so rude and disrespectful. And they were doing the same thing when they went up and handed the lady money as well. I'm like, you don't get it. This is why people hate millennials and hate my generation, because people do stuff like this, and it just pisses me off. So I'm like, I don't want to be pegged as one of these people. So you're putting me in this bad situation, so you should shut up and just like let me be a better influence of the generation than what you're doing. So it sucked, and it really sucks, because then my whole generation, like I said before, gets pegged as these kids, and I'm the exact opposite. I went up to the window afterwards. I'm like, did you have to deal with these kids? And I was like, I'm apologizing on behalf of my generation for being like that. I'm sorry, and you have to deal with that. And it's just one of the many things that my generation has, and it's just so unfortunate. And it's even worse because the kids who are younger than me are even worse. Like, these kids were obviously in high school. There's a high school close to the Tim's that I was going to, and it's so unfortunate. There's so much like extra drama and stuff going on in high schools and stuff now for absolutely no reason. Like, kids get into arguments about social media beef. I'm like, it's social media beef. Like, you just keep it on the internet. You don't need to bring it into your real life, and it doesn't need to affect you this much. It's beef. Like, just let it go. I understand some things are different, obviously, like there's bullying and that kind of stuff. But if you're beefing over like a girl or something, or a post, or like, you really need to calm down, unless there's some like really, really justified reason. But people are beefing over it, and it's so unfortunate, because then older generations see this and are like, oh, well, I don't want to have to deal with these kids, like they're being rude, they're always on social media just doing this stupid stuff. I'm like, but not all the generation is like this. And it sucks, because then the whole generation gets pegged like that. And like I said, the younger generation is even worse. Like, so being in high school really showed me the age range difference of, so when I was in grade 12, so I'm in first year of university right now, when I'm recording this at least, I don't know when you're hearing this, but when I was in grade 12, I noticed that the grade 9s and 10s, and even some of the 11s, there was such a huge gap in level of maturity and all of that just between us. And so one of the biggest things was skipping class. Like, most kids who were in my school, at least, I don't know about other schools, and I know it was relatively similar, that most of us actually didn't skip class ever. Like, we just really didn't. We fought through it, like we got through it. We were already there for 4 years. I guess maybe they'll change, but it doesn't look like they have, because I've gone back and I've kind of seen, and like, nothing changes. That these younger kids, they're failing their grade 9 classes, failing their grade 10 classes, failing their grade 11 classes, and then they're all the way back in these grade 9 classes when they're in grade 12 eventually. Like, it's just, it doesn't make any sense at all. And the fact that they're like skipping class and missing stuff and skipping class and all of these things, making up these BS excuses for why they weren't there, or whatever the case might be, it just doesn't make any sense. Am I the only one, or am I driving myself insane by saying all this? It just, to me, it doesn't make any sense at all. And it's just, it showed the level. I don't know if it was just me, like I consider myself a relatively mature person when it comes to a lot of serious situations. I like to have a lot of fun whenever I possibly can. That's why I do these videos and stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't quite understand why they're doing this, and they're like consistently failing classes. It's not like one class, this class, that class, that class. Like over 4 years they might fail like 2 classes. It's like 3 classes in first semester where they're getting extremely low marks or failing. I'm like, yeah, because you never go to class, and that's why you're failing. Like, it's not the fact that you aren't doing the work. Like, sorry, it's not the fact that you're doing the work and not doing well. It's the fact that you're never there to understand the work. It just, that was one of the biggest things. And I guess, like I said before, the sense of entitlement, the fact that you feel like you should own everything, is not realistic unless you actually put in the effort. If you're putting in the effort and you feel like you should own everything, then maybe, yeah, it's justified. But when you're not doing anything, you're just sitting on the couch, or you're hanging out with your friends, you're smoking up, all that kind of stuff, I'm sorry, but you're not going to get anywhere in life. It's just how it works. You actually have to put in the effort to get somewhere in life. You can't just talk about it or not do anything and then expect to get it all. That's not how life works, unfortunately. I mean, if life worked like that, then everybody would be successful. But everybody's not successful for a reason. Because the people that work hard and the people that don't work hard, sorry, the people that work hard over here and the people that don't work hard, people that don't work hard don't get anywhere in life. It doesn't just get given to you. Unless you get like mommy or daddy's like credit card for the rest of your life. But that's not going to be forever. So it happens, unfortunately, that my generation gets pegged like this, and then I go on this tangent as a podcast, I guess, and talk about it. And it's just, there's so much to it. And I want to, like, one of the biggest things, and I guess social media has the biggest impact on this, is the thought that materialistic objects, so like a Louis Vuitton belt or a Gucci bag or Yeezys or anything like that, will make you a better person. And yes, of course, like I love my Yeezys. I've got a couple pairs. I like Supreme. I like all that kind of stuff. I like Jordans, all that stuff. But I like it for the streetwear. Like, I like it because it looks good. Like, if you rock it, like if you got an outfit going, you got all this kind of stuff. I like it for the fashion. Of course, it's obviously a very expensive purchase most of the time, but in the sense that it adds. It's nice. It's a nice touch every now and then. And you're like, yeah, I like that. It's I don't know how else to put it, but I like it for the fashion. Most people like it for the name, which is the materialistic, just, I've got Gucci, I feel like I'm better than everybody else, I'm flexing on everybody else, I'm stunting my stuff, like, but I didn't buy it. Like, that kind of idea. I can't stand people like that. Now, if you're working hard and you want to flex and you want to spend your own money on Gucci and Louis Vuitton and all that kind of stuff, go for it. That's what I've done, at least. And so, if you're willing to do that, if you're willing to put in the work and flex, then, hey, you deserve it. Props to you. But if you want to wear all this stuff and then flex on people like it's yours, when you didn't really work for it, you didn't really pay for it, then you really don't deserve it. And you shouldn't feel like the materialistic object. You have a $1,600 sweater on or $2,000 shoes on or whatever you have, that doesn't make you a better person. And the person who's wearing an outfit from H&M but is giving back to the community, doing more volunteer work and coaching a team and doing all their schoolwork, getting high 90s, A's, all that kind of stuff, they're the person that's going to do well in life. And they're the person, hey, maybe they like materialistic objects. I'm not saying you don't have to like it, but maybe they're just better off because they're actually doing stuff. They're volunteering and they're having fun and they're working and they're doing school and all this kind of stuff, but they're wearing an H&M outfit. So are you gonna hate on them for that? Like, it's just, it's unfortunate that there is so much of this going on, and there's so much that happens like this in my generation, at least. And I know there's 100 people that could come on with me right now and talk about this, and they'd say the same thing. And everybody's obsessed with the clout and all that kind of stuff. But the worst thing to do is look at your follower count, because you become obsessed with that number, you become obsessed with the views and all that kind of stuff. But if you just keep putting out like good content and stuff, if you keep having fun, it comes to you because you've already put in the work to do your best work. Like, you've already done your best work, and the money will come to you afterwards and all of that good stuff. And it's just, I'm kind of going on and on and on, but you get what I'm saying. And it's unfortunate that my generation just thinks that the side that I don't have to do anything at all and it'll all come to me is so wrong. And I'm so sorry for the millions of people that my generation has offended, and that we've painted a bad image of ourselves to you. And we don't get jobs because of it. We don't get so many things. We get treated we get treated with disrespect because that's how you assume that we're going to give it back. When in actuality, there's more than half of us, if not more, like probably 3/4 of us, that are actually really, really nice people. And so we all have our moments, of course, and we can, like, everybody in the world, like, nobody is perfect, and we all have our moments of maybe it's a bad day, bad morning, that kind of thing. But it's unfortunate that the group that always feels so entitled is what you think of my generation, and that's probably why you hate my generation so much. And if you do, I'm sorry. You're probably gonna hate me after this podcast, but hey, I want to come on here and tell my perspective, at least, about this whole situation. And I really feel like I've given enough light to the situation that you can see a different perspective other than just like somebody who doesn't care or wouldn't do something like this, or just doesn't care about anything but themselves and the clout and all that kind of stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of the podcast. If you did, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know what you guys want to see next. I'm going to try to do these every single week on Fridays. So this is going up on a Friday, obviously March 2nd. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, and have fun. I think you can, follow me on SoundCloud. Turn on my post notifications as well. This will be every single Friday, so stay tuned for that. Hope you guys have all had a great day. And of course, make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and have fun, guys. I'll see you in the next podcast and next video. Peace.